Okay, today we are going to start our lecture regarding Introduction to Drama. This is the first course lecture. Before entering into any details, we are going to discuss what is meant by drama. As I told you earlier, the play, we have to start with the definition of the word play or the word drama. A play is a representation of a human feelings in action. But the word action doesn't mean mere physical movement. It includes psychological motivation and this motivation that are behind our actions. So our visible behavior must be traced and understood in terms of the psychological motivation. So when you watch a play, you have to understand everything presented in the play. Okay. Now we move to another definition. As I told you, we have different definitions. All of them, at the end, we are going to summarize them to reach a comprehensive definition. Drama or a play is a piece of writing that is presented almost exclusively through dialogue. And as I told you, dialogue is the distinctive feature of a drama. Okay, all the action is presented in dialogue. Like a short story or a novel, it has a setting, characters, plot, and even symbolism. If we draw a comparison and contrast between the drama and other literary genres, especially short story or a novel, there are certain similarities, like what? All the categories here share certain features, like they have a setting, characters, plot, and even other stylistic devices like symbolism and different literary devices. But the major difference is the idea of performance, because a play is meant to be performed in front of an audience, not to read. If we compare it to a short story or a novel or a poetry, these genres are written to be read, but a drama is written to be performed, to be staged on theater, not to be read. This is a general idea of the how is the stage. As you see, this is okay. This picture describes what is meant by stage. Here we have characters, and this is the stage, and the audience in front of the stage who can come and watch the play performance. Now to the elements of a drama. The first element, we'll move to Aristotle and his definition. We have to go back to Aristotle, and he said that there are 6 elements. Number 1, plot, character, thought, diction, music, spectacle. Okay, these are the major elements of a play. We'll start with number 1, it's plot. Plot is a summary of the play's incident. Okay, they are arranged storyline. They are arranged in a linear style. Here we have organization of the play fall into major stages. They are divided into a beginning, a middle, and end. And here we have the sequence of events is related and is linked through the principle of cause and effect. Actually, Aristotle in the Poetics considered plot the most important element of the drama. Okay, in a play we have some plays we have main plot, but we have in other plays main and subplots. Okay, so you have to trace where is the main plot and where are the subplots. The main plot is concerned with the major theme or the major action. Subplot are those related to themes or action that resulted from the main plot. Now, what is the structure of the plot? The plot of the structure has all all of you know exposition. We have then rising action, crisis or climax, falling action, and resolution, or some critics refer to it to denouement or catastrophe. Now let us have a diagram that presents the structure of the drama, like the plot of the story. This is something common between a story or a novel and a play. Here we have certain stages. We have number one, exposition. In this stage, the characters and conflict are introduced. This is the beginning of the play. Then after that, the tension increases, and here we call this stage complication. After that, we have reached here the highest point of tension. This point is called the climax. Okay, here, this point, in this point, the action determines how the conflict will be resolved. And after that, we have a resolution in which the resolution is, the tension is resolved. As you see here, we have exposition, mainly it covers Act 1. Then we have inciting movement, and we have in Act 2, the rising of action. We have the complication stage, I mean stage in this point, and the complication heightens, and the highest point is called the climax. And after that, we have, as you see, reversal, and we have the falling of the action. And in Act 5, we have the ending or the resolution of the play. Okay. The second major element in a drama is characters. The word character is here, it's the major element. It is the action is presented by these characters. We have to know the actors, and from the actors we can trace the characters, their way of speech, their behavior, and their action reveal a lot about this character. So characterization is the playwright's means of differentiating one personage from another. And how can I analyze a character? I can analyze it by having a discussion of 4 levels. Okay, what are the levels of characterization or the characters? Physical, social, psychological, moral. These are the 4 levels. Start first of all with the physical. Now, the basic facts in the physical are, okay, you have to identify the character 6. Is he male or female? Then his age, is he young or old? His size, is he huge or okay, thin, fat, short, tall? Colorization, is he black or white or brown? Okay, these are the things that we focus on when we describe the character's physical appearance. After that, we have the social. The social mainly focused on the factors that place character in a particular environment. We describe his position in the society. Is he rich or poor? Okay, this is the economic status. His profession, what does he work? His trade, and his religion, and family relationship. Okay. We move now with the inner state of the character mind. This is the psychological depth of the character. Here we have to discuss character's habitual responses and discuss or investigate his desires, try to find out or understand his motivation. Why did he act in this way? And if we understand the motivation behind something, maybe it makes things easier for us to understand why this person act in this way, what things that he likes or he dislikes. Since drama most often arises from conflicting desires, the psychological depth or the psychological aspect is the most essential level of characterization, because as I told you, it enables us to understand the character's behavior. Now, the moral depth or the moral aspect of the character, it is discussed in many ways, and it could be revealed in different ways. It's varied from one character to another. It reveals what characters are willing to do to get what they want, as opposed to what they have said they or others should do in such situation. In other words, the moral decisions differentiate character, okay, and as I told you, different from one character to another. Okay, how characters function in the play? Actually, to answer this question, you have to understand that the writer of the play or the dramatist can emphasize one or more of these levels. It's not, okay, all the four aspects or the four dimensions of the characters must be revealed clearly. No, some writers or some dramatists may focus on one or two levels. Some writers focused on three, so it's varied according to the writer himself. So here you have to find out the information written about every character. So you have to trace the traits, and this depends on how character functions in the play. Now, we'll move now to another important topic, types of characters. We have classified them into major divisions, minor characters, and the principal or major characters. Principal or major, the same word, okay? They are important characters. Now, how can I know if this character is a principal or a minor? The principal characters need to be drawn in considerable depth. They actually, the major characters play a major role in the play. All the action depend on them. In other words, their existence is very important for us. The action depends on them, but the minor characters, they play minor role. In other words, sometimes their disappearance will not influence directly the plot itself. So here we have again to distinguish between major and minor character, another division, round and flat characters. What is meant by round character? A round character is a dynamic character. It's a changing character. It has many dimensions. But a flat character, it's a monodimensional. It's a static character. Another thing you have to deal, this term is protagonist or antagonist. The protagonist or the antagonist are two terms. They are opposed to each other. The protagonist is one of the things that you have to understand about every character. After its analysis, you have to mention if it's protagonist or antagonist, and to know who is the antagonist of this character. Another thing we are going to discuss is the stereotype, okay? And also we'll move to discussion in four characters. Here I have a table for you. In this table, we have the definition of a protagonist and the antagonist, stereotype, and foil. The type of the character, protagonist, the main character of a literary work, is called a protagonist. The antagonist is the opponent, okay, of the hero or the main character. So if we have a main character, the person who is against this character is called antagonist. He is his or her opponent. In other words, the antagonist is the one who opposes and actively competes with another character in the play, most often with the protagonist. Now, another type of character is stereotype. A stereotype character has generalized traits and characteristics that make the character group representative rather than an individual. So these features are not meant to be taken literally for this person alone. No, he stands for a group. He symbolizes something. He stands for something bigger than himself. Stereotypes are fixed traits, okay? They have certain fixed traits. These traits assigned to groups of people based on their race or nationality. A foil character, it's a character whose personality or attitudes are in sharp contrast to those of another character in the same play. Okay, this highlights the other character's traits. A character is, okay, it could be presented or revealed in several ways. The first thing I can know information about the character is from the stage directions or the preface. Another source for our information about a character is what the character says. I can judge what kind of person is he from his speech. What others in the play say about him. Okay, if someone of the characters reported to us certain information about this character, so this will be taken into consideration when we are going to analyze the character. Another source of our knowledge about the character is from his action, what the character does. Now we'll move to another important element in the drama, it's thought or theme. Okay, now thought, sometimes the author's intention is clearly stated in the script. This is so easy, but sometimes, which is this is the most popular, it's not mentioned and you have to conclude it. So dramatists in different periods have used various devices to project ideas. Okay, how can I know the dramatist point of view? Sometimes from direct statement. The writer mentioned his opinion directly, maybe through the aside, soliloquies, and in the chorus. Other writers like to use allegories. Others use symbols. Okay, so they are varied in their way of presentation. Now we have to move to diction. Language. Diction is another word for language. It's the playwright's primary means of expression. Okay, when we say what is a diction, diction is the language of the writer, the dramatist. The basic criterion for judging a diction is its appropriateness to the character. If this way of speech is suitable for this character, yes. For example, if I have a character who is supposed to be highly educated, a professor or a doctor or a teacher, his diction must be suitable to this person. So it's basic criterion of judging the character is to trace and to judge if this speech is appropriate for this character or not. Another thing that is important to the our judging of the diction is the situation. Another thing is the probability and the type of the play. Of course, the type of the play, I mean, if it's a tragedy or a comedy, the diction would be completely different. Music. Okay, as we ordinarily understand this term, it doesn't occur in every play. Music is not in every play, so it depends according to certain plays. But under the word music, we can extend this term to mean to include all patterned sounds. It is an important ingredient in every production. Sometimes we have sound effects, sometimes we have the music, sometimes we have certain effects to give us the production and the impression that we need. The performance through the elements of pitch, stress, volume, tempo, duration, and quality transform the print into sound. So the way the character speak is important. When we listen to how he pronounce and he act, and this feature is important because it can tell us about the actor or the character, sorry, psychological situation. Is he happy or sad? Through his sound, okay, you have by the use of pitch or distress and volume of his voice, you can know many information about the character himself. Okay, so from these elements, we have the meaning conveyed to us. In addition to the actors' voices, sometimes we use music in the form of songs at the background of the play, and sometimes we have music. We have many incidents in Shakespeare's comedies, for example, As You Like It and other comic plays. We have this mentioned, the dances and the music, okay, and songs. Spectacle. Spectacle here refers to the visual elements of a production and the movement and spatial relation of characters. Like, okay, depends on what we do take a great interest in lighting, settings, customs, properties. We'll have to now discuss every one of them alone. The reader of the script must try to envision the spectacle in order to grasp a play's full power. What are these things? Many older plays contain almost no stage directions, and all clues must be sought in the dialogue to help the reader visualize the action. Stage direction instructions for the director. What are the stage directions? They are certain instructions for the director and the performer, the actor, and the stage crew. These are printed in italics. Usually the stage directions are printed in italics or sometimes enclosed in parentheses. Many stage directions tell the actors how to speak or move. For example, between parentheses, the character sit down. The character moves to the corner. Okay, these instructions are presented in italics or in parentheses. In other words, many stages directions tell the actors how to speak or move. Two things, either informing them how to speak or how to move. They describe the scenery, all the decorations on the stage that help create the setting. Let me give you an example. This is a screenshot from a play. Here we have between parentheses, as you see here, between parentheses, inter aerial. Okay, is that clear? Now, stage directions are in italics or with the brackets or with or included in parentheses. This is here in this case, it is presented in brackets. So we have two characters speaking with each other. During this moment, we have this character at the beginning and then inter aerial. So this is related to the movement. This, okay, screenshot from The Tempest by William Shakespeare. Okay, so as you see here, this is what is meant by stage direction. Now when we have to dialogue. Dialogue is the conversation between characters. And as I told you earlier, that this is very important. It is the distinctive feature that distinguishes drama from other types of plays and from other types of literary genres like short story or a novel or a poetry. Although some novels contain some paragraphs of dialogue, but it's not the whole novel written in dialogue. This is what I mean, the distinctive feature. In a play, all the action is presented or written in a form of dialogue. Both the plot of the play and the characters' personalities are revealed through dialogue. Let us have a look from A Midsummer Night. This is a shot of the play Rock. Here we have the first character and the second character. This is what we say dialogue. Even when just have a look, if you don't know what is the title of the book, anyone opens the book to you and say, okay, is this a novel or a play? So when you see that there is a dialogue, it's written in dialogue, we immediately know that this is a play. Now we'll move to the forms of characters speech, how characters can speak, or how the speech is presented. The dominant way in a drama is through dialogue. And we define dialogue as a conversation of characters on stage. Another way is monologue. Monologue is the opposite of dialogue. It's a long speech given by one character. In a dialogue, we have two characters, but in the monologue, we have just one character, and this character is giving a long speech to others. Another way of expressing the character points of view and the way of speech is soliloquy. It is defined as a speech by character alone on a stage to himself. Now, if you want to, let me say, differentiate between dialogue or a monologue, we can go back and see that in a dialogue, we have a character between what? Between two characters. In a monologue, he is alone and speaking to other characters. In a soliloquy, he is speaking to himself. He is not speaking to anyone else. Okay, it's a speech by a character alone on a stage to himself. Now, the question to you, can a person speak to himself? In reality, no, it's not normal that a person speaks to himself aloud. But in a drama, it's a technique. This technique is aimed to make us understand the inner thoughts of the character. Okay? Then we have another form, which is aside. Aside is another way by which characters present their opinions or comments. It's a remark made by a character to the audience, to one character. The other characters on stage pretend that they don't see him or hear him. Okay, so the aside is a comment or a remark made by a character about something in the action. Other characters who are in the same stage pretend that they don't hear him. Okay. Forms of drama. We have tragedy, comedy, tragicomedy, melodrama. Okay. These are the major forms of, okay, what? Drama. We move now with the first type, which is, okay, tragedy. Critics have divided the plays into dramatic forms as the basis of, on the basis of certain characteristics. The most important of which is the action and the tone and the emotional mood. Okay. Throughout action of history, tragedy and a comedy have been considered the two basic forms. So in a tragedy or a comedy, these are the two important basic forms. Tragedy is a type of a drama that shows the downfall and the destruction of a noble, outstanding person. In a tragedy, we, especially in the ancient tragedies, we have this feature, the focus on the noble person, outstanding person. The hero must be a complete, a perfect person. He had joined all the positive qualities that you have ever imagined someone to have. Mostly in the Elizabethan theater and Shakespearean drama, we have this character to be a noble or royal personality. Traditionally, one possesses character weakness, but this hero must, to be normal, he must have a point of weakness. This point of weakness is called the tragic flaw, or as Aristotle mentioned many centuries, hamartia. Hamartia, this is the term used by Aristotle. It is a reference to the point of weakness that is responsible for the downfall of the great character or this noble character or the hero. Let us see some examples of the plays written by Shakespeare and to see the hamartia, or the point of weakness in, or the flaw in the characters mentioned in some of Shakespeare's plays. For example, in Macbeth, Macbeth is presented as a courageous, brave soldier. He has a great position in the army. He was the leader of the army. He proved to be victorious in all the battles that he participated in. He's a popular person. The king loved him. But his character is not complete because, as I told you earlier, this character must have a flaw, a point of weakness. What is the point of weakness of this person, Macbeth? I mean, ambition. And this flaw is the major cause of his downfall. Because of his being too ambitious, Macbeth will fall down. We have a great downfall of this person. Othello also is mentioned as one of Shakespeare's greatest heroes. He's proved to be a symbol of courage, a symbol of morals. But he has a problem. Although he is popular, all people loved him. There are some people, of course, who hate him because of this popularity, because of this great charisma that he had. As I told you, a hero must have a flaw. What is the flaw of Othello? Is the idea of jealousy. He's too jealous, and he started suspecting his wife. And this is the point which Iago played on to get him downfall. Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark, he is described as a clever, intelligent, smart, handsome prince. But this person has a flaw, which is hesitation, and he could never fulfill action in the appropriate time. He kept delaying the action until the last moment of the play. This is the point of weakness in Hamlet's character. So in a tragedy, the hero must be a noble person, a great character. It's not necessary to be a royal. He must be a great person who enjoyed many positive features. Still, because there is no one perfect, he had to suffer from a point of weakness, and this point of weakness is called hamartia, or flaw. What is the definition of a tragedy? It's a serious play in which the hero is engaged in a conflict, and this conflict makes the character in a great suffering. But at the ending of the play, there is no way to get off this suffering except with death. At the end of the play ends with his death. Here we have to start with the discussion of the tragic form of tragedy. I stop here. In next lecture, we are going to continue speaking about, so we'll stop here in the tragedy. Next lecture, we continue discussing tragedy, its definition, and trace it through history from the Greek time until nowadays. By this, we come to end our lecture, and next time, as I told you, we go on with tragedy.